Looking for a great place for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Try the Harbor Cove Cafe, located in the beautiful Ventura Harbor. This remarkable gem is locally owned and operated and serves a wide selection of breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites, plus a full espresso bar and delightful tropical libations mixed up by our own Dr. Shocker. Visit them online at harborcovecafe.net or give them a call at 805-658-1639. Harbor Cove Cafe, located at 1867 Spinnaker Drive in the Ventura Harbor. With their delicious food and amazing beverages, the Harbor Cove Cafe is Ventura County's hidden treasure. But now you know where to find it.
Rough Edge FM. Irritatingly irresistible internet radio at roughedgefm.com.
Now it's time for Backseat Mogul with R. Scott Bolton. He talks about showbiz because showbiz won't talk about him.
Showbiz is a cruel and shallow money trench, a long plastic hallway where thieves and pimps run free and good men die like dogs for no good reason. There's also a bad side.
This is the Backseat Mogul Show live here on Rough Edge FM. I am R. Scott Bolton. I am the Backseat Mogul, and this is the show we talk about show business. Sitting over there to my right, even though I'm pointing left, it looks like it's for you guys out there so you can see which way I'm pointing. Johnny D. Johnny, good morning, sir.
Morning, Scotty B. How are you?
I am okay. Glad to be back here in studio. It's been skipped a week last week due to a family emergency, and back in the swing of things, though, and getting ready to talk about some showbiz. And we have a new guest in the studio. You see Elvis up there doing his dance. That's a clock, if you can believe it or not. Is it still right?
Well,
close enough. And that was my grandmother's clock, and she passed away last week. And she always told me that if she passed away, that I needed to take that clock. So I thought, what better place than here in Rough Edge Studios,
right,
for Elvis to swing his hips?
I like it. Now, a question. It looks like he's
constipated?
No. Where his face and his hands and his shoes, that looks kind of like it's fluorescent. Does it glow in the dark?
I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to test that later and find out.
Yeah,
it might, because I was going to paint the hands black instead of white, because the hands are kind of hard to see. But if they do glow in the dark, then I won't touch them.
Yeah. When I say hands, I mean not the hands of the clock.
I know you meant Elvis's hands, but look at the hands of the clock. They might also be.
Oh, that's true too.
What's the word for it? Not effervescent. It's
fluorescent.
They might fluoresce, is what Johnny is saying.
Unless they smell good, then they are what you said.
Did you say something? Did you say F you to me?
No.
Okay. No. Check it out. So anyway, today we're going to talk about whatever is out in the news. This is what we call a shotgun show, when I don't really have anything planned, and we're just going to go through and talk about some things that are in the news, maybe some things we've seen recently. And let's start with what you had. Johnny said you saw a movie on Amazon that was a couple of years old.
Yes, I saw the movie yesterday, and it's the story about this guy who is he's a musician, but he's also a teacher of music. And besides teaching students, he also does a couple of different side jobs to get by. And one of them is he works in a big box store. Well, he's on his bicycle one night riding home, and there is a worldwide power outage. Every light in the world goes out, including the lights on the bus. Now, this guy, he's on his bicycle and he enters the intersection, which is pitch black, at the same time the bus does, which is pitch black. The bus hits him. And when he wakes up,
as people do when they get hit by a bus,
right, he's in the hospital. And, some friends come visit him and he gets discharged, and they're out at a place very similar to what like a Harbor Cove cafe,
Mm-hmm.
outdoor seating. And they asked, because he sings, he's a musician. They say, hey, play us a song. So he starts playing a Beatles song, and I can't remember which one it is. It might have been The Long and Winding Road. And his three friends loved it. They said, oh, did you just write that? No. It's from the Beatles. The who? The Beatles. Bugs? No.
Or the Who with Pete
No.
Townsend?
And anyway, apparently when that power outage happened,
It didn't just kill him, it killed the Beatles.
yeah, it erased the world's memory of the Beatles, except for two people.
Him.
Technically three people.
Him.
Well, no, then we would say four people,
Okay.
including him. So anyway, he gets the idea. He starts writing, trying to remember the different lyrics to the different Beatles songs. And he starts singing all these songs to people. Well, Ed Sheeran, played by
That's right.
Ed Sheeran,
That's right. Remember that?
discovers him and helps him.
Build a career with
Yeah.
stolen music.
But nobody knows it's stolen, except
Does that make it right, John? Does
No,
that
no,
make it
no,
acceptable?
I'm not done yet. So, but anyways, the two of the people that I mentioned earlier who know, they start going to his concerts and his interviews and all that. And because they're going, you can read their minds almost like, you didn't write those songs. And eventually he meets someone later in the show. I really enjoyed the show. I just wished, for me, I wished it had been more complete songs. Instead of giving us just little snippets from the different venues he went to, I wish they probably, if there is an album out of the music.
Yeah, I don't know if
industry.
there is or not. That's a good question. I know this though. The budget for that movie was $26 million.
Mhm.
It grossed $153 million worldwide. So it's a hit, no
Oh, yeah.
question.
A lot of Beatle fans went and saw that movie.
But $10 million of that was spent on music licensing.
Mhm.
So when almost half your budget is spent on music licensing, you know, you're licensing the Beatles or Led Zeppelin
Mhm.
or one of the big Rolling Stones, those big expensive bands out there. Rich Galano from KVTA was reviewing that movie recently when I was on, and he was talking about how much he liked that movie too. He also had some issues with it. You guys are both heavy
Old?
duty Beatles fan. Yeah.
Old?
Yeah. And heavy duty Beatles fans, right? I mean, you are, right?
Mhm.
I am not. I've never understood the allure of, I get it. Their music's okay, but I'd never understood why they became as huge as they did. And their music's just okay to me. It's not my thing.
Well,
I have a Motorhead tattoo. So what does that tell you? Of course it's not my thing.
I think one of the reasons I have always.
Okay, but wait, you're throwing me off again.
Sorry.
My point is, I wonder if people who, I don't wonder, I think that people who are Beatles fans will enjoy that movie, and people who are not such Beatles fans don't. Because I got to tell you, I didn't like that movie at all. I watched it and I thought, this is a pointless piece of crap. I really didn't like it. Now, $153 million worth of tickets proves me wrong.
Mhm.
But Shelley and I both watched it, and both of us like, what? So what? It wasn't a big deal.
I've been to movies like that where, I didn't care for it, but
Yeah, I mean,
a
it
lot of the
happened.
masses did. Yeah.
But so I think that's the defining line. I think if you're a Beatles fan, you might eat that up. I am not, and I was not entertained at all by it. I thought it was dull and like I said, pointless. I will say the performance though was terrific.
Oh yeah.
That guy who played the lead, I wish I had his name up here, but I don't. He did a great job, and his singing and playing was very good. It worked. I kept telling Shelley, well, it's better than the Beatles, but I was just kidding though. But so I think that as a Beatles fan, you would get into that. But if you're not a Beatles fan, you probably won't, because it doesn't have anything going for it as far as I'm concerned, unless you're a Beatles fan. And also, I'm thinking, well, this guy stole the Beatles music. I know the Beatles don't exist, but he was living a lie.
Yes, he was. But in the same vein, nobody has according to the way the show's going, nobody had ever heard of him
Yeah.
except for those two people.
Right.
3, if you count the mystery person who I'm not going to say, but you have to watch the movie. It's on Amazon Prime
or don't
Video.
watch it. Either way, you'll see. Either way, you'll be. If you're a Beatles fan, watch it. If you're not a Beatles fan, don't bother. Is my advice. And I know people are seeing it again, and that's the joy of these streaming networks. Even though they're all struggling, the joy is that movies like that didn't get seen. I mean, $153 million is a lot of tickets worldwide, but it's not Marvel, right?
That's true.
Movies are getting rediscovered because of these streaming networks. Movies that came out 10 years ago that suddenly appear on Netflix or something, or Amazon or wherever. People are starting to pay attention to them again. And I think that's great. I think some movies are getting a second shot at life because of these streaming networks, even ones that aren't so great like that one, in my opinion. And by the way, Rotten Tomatoes, I pulled it up here. The critics' reviews were 63%. And the audience score was 89%. So a little difference there. And again, I bet you out of that 89%, 99% are Beatles fans, because most people are. I just happen to not be so much. Again, they're not the kind of band that I'm going to turn the channel when their music comes on. But I think I've got one copy of a Beatles album, and it's a vinyl white album that I found at a garage sale.
Which was called the White Album. It had another
which
title.
Is why I called it the White Album.
Well, it has another title, which I can't remember what it is.
Does it really? I didn't know that.
But everybody referred to it as the White Album because it is the cover is white.
The album was also called The Beatles.
Okay.
So that's why. So it was the Beatles with their album The Beatles and referred to as the White Album. But yeah, that's the only one I got.
Okay, how old were you when you first became aware of music?
I can tell you exactly when.
It doesn't matter what genre. Just what?
What's a genre?
Rhymes.
Genre. That's right. That's right. I can tell you exactly. Oh, maybe I can't. Oh, that was it. What year was Rock of the Westies released? Elton John's Rock of the Westies. 1975. So 1975 is when I first got it. And that was that album that brought me into rock and roll.
So when you became really aware of rock and roll music, would have been, as far as Beatles goes, would have been during the Wings, Paul McCartney and Wings, after the Beatles.
Yeah.
Now for me, I remember when the Beatles first came out. Yes, I'm
old. How old were you in 1961?
In 61, I was 8.5.
And you remember 9. The Beatles when you were 9?
Yeah. I have 2 older sisters.
Okay. That makes sense then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Now I get it. That makes sense. Maybe. I mean, here's the thing. I still consider Elton John to be one of the, if not the greatest rock star of all time. But he's still around, still doing his thing. Paul McCartney, I know, is still out there doing his thing, but when's the last time he did a new album?
Actually, not that long ago. He had an album come out. It was either sometime last year or earlier.
Was it really?
Well, not earlier this year, but yeah, he had an album that came out last year.
I see that he's played on some albums. He played with Jimmy Buffett. It looks like others. McCartney 3, December 2020. So it wasn't.
Oh, it's 2020.
So it's been 3 years. And have you heard that? Is it good?
Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah. And see, I actually like Paul McCartney more than I like the Beatles. So it's just weird. It's just, I don't dislike the Beatles. I just don't understand why they're considered gods. It's just strange to me because, and you and I have had the argument because you made the comment one time that you don't like bubblegum music. And I said, but you like the Beatles. And you said the Beatles aren't bubblegum. And I said, I Want to Hold Your Hand is like the ultimate bubblegum song. If people ask me, name the ultimate bubblegum song, I would say, I Want to Hold Your Hand. So, and I know they did some experimental stuff later and all that stuff. And I admire and I all that. It's just not me. It's just not my style of music. But I'm a heavy metal guy.
That's
You know,
true.
even though, like I said, Elton John, as far as I'm concerned, greatest rock star ever.
Mhm.
And, you know, still out there, not touring anymore, but still out there making music and doing things. And then how many people has he inspired through his years? And that's another thing to consider. When you talk about the greatest rock stars of all time, you have to consider the people they inspired.
Mhm.
Beatles inspired everybody from
Yeah.
Motorhead to Kiss. You know, those
Mhm.
they both cite them as Kiss. How many people have they inspired?
Yeah.
It just goes on and on. So you got to take that into understanding as well. Elton John, countless people he's inspired to do.
I mean, with Kiss, one of their biggest fans, who was I would say was inspired by Kiss, is Garth Brooks.
Yeah, Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
That's who he modeled his shows after. He wanted his shows to look like a Kiss show.
And Garth Brooks is
Dave
country.
Grohl from the Foo Fighters, huge Kiss fan.
Mhm.
So yeah, you have to take that into consideration too. And I get that the Beatles are some people's thing; they're just not my thing. So that's why that movie just didn't click for me. But we've talked a long time about that movie.
Yeah. But I enjoyed the movie, but I just wished, like I said, that there were more songs that were completed. Not all of the songs, I understand that, but more of the songs had been completed in their entirety for the show than just little snippets here, little snippets there.
I bet that it was a cost thing because they'd already spent $10 million on licensing. So what do you do? It looks like there is a soundtrack. Oh no, these are all just, and even the soundtracks are like clips. Look, yesterday is 1 minute 32 seconds. That song's longer than that.
Is
So-
the wine? What is the wine? Oh God,
Himesh Patel was the guy's name who played that part.
The Long and Winding Road.
The
It's such a great song.
I don't even see it on the list.
There it is, number 24.
337. So is that a full song?
I don't remember.
These are all on YouTube, by the way. It looks like they're YouTube videos. Oh, but they're not. They're just a list. I don't know. Look, if you're interested, look it up yourself, but listen closely to Himesh Patel.
Look at
he does
number
a great
11.
He does a great job. Number 11, The Long Winding Road, 138.
And that's with Patel
Yeah.
singing.
They both are.
Oh, okay.
But one's 337, one's 137. So I don't know. These may just be clips on YouTube or something else like that. But there is an album. Well, you can listen to it at Spotify. I'm opening it up now.
Oh, really?
And
I have Spotify.
I'm curious.
I'm going to go to.
See, same thing. Look how the song's 51 seconds. Yeah. So it's an interesting concept. It just didn't float for me as all. What did float for me was a movie called Talk to Me. And we talked about Talk to Me here on the show before. And that was the horror movie, Australian horror movie about these kids, jerky kids, like all kids are out there drinking and partying. And then one of them brings this human hand that's been severed. And it's got all these occult tattoos all over it, and it just holds out like this. And for those of you who are watching, it's just like your head shaking a hand. For those of you listening, it's still like just shaking a hand. I just wanted to clarify. But what happens is you grasp that hand and you say the words "talk to me," and a dead person appears opposite you.
Ooh.
And you can talk to the dead person for a few minutes, but you can't hang on for longer than I think 60 seconds. Otherwise, it'll take you in with it.
Oh.
So you can imagine what happens in the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody holds on too long and gets taken in with it. And the story follows them as they go through this journey. It's a great, very scary movie, and very well made, very well acted, beautifully shot. And John will love this part, practical effects, lots of practical effects and really good practical effects. It just won Best Picture at the Australian Academy Awards. This movie called Talk to Me. Runaway winner at this year's main awards. It won Best Film, Best Lead Actress, and Best Direction for the filmmaking duo of brothers Danny Filippo and Michael Filippo. And I know I'm saying Filippo wrong, so to just deal with it. anyway, that's a big deal. A horror movie like that
Yeah.
wins Best Picture at the Australian Academy Awards. You notice it's not in the list here at the American Academy Awards because the American Academy doesn't like horror films. As far as I can remember, only one horror film has ever won Best Picture, and that's Silence of the Lambs. And before you say it's not a horror film, remember it's about a guy who talks people into cutting off faces and feeding them to their dogs. It's a horror film.
Eating parts of them.
What? Yeah, true, because he's a cannibal. So, very seldom, if ever, does a horror film get even nominated at these Academy Awards. But at the Australian ones, Talk to Me won Best Picture. So if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend that movie. It'll creep you out, but it's excellent. It's very, very good for a horror film. That sounds bad because a lot of horror films are really good. It's good despite the fact that doesn't work either. It's a good horror film that's worthy of a Best Picture win. That's what I meant to say.
Is it streaming?
It is. And I don't know why, but let's see if we can find out. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know where. I know why, because they want to make money off of it. Let's find out. Talk to Me. You guys get a Google with this when you watch this show. That's cool. Talk to Me streaming. But it's already on streaming. It doesn't say where though. Where can I stream Talk to Me? There it does. It's now on Prime Video, Apple TV, or Vudu. So you can check it out anywhere there. And I highly recommend you do. It's an excellent movie and very impressive to pull down Best Picture. So that's good news for that. All right, let's see what we got. Another news here. There's a new Jurassic Park movie. They wanted David Leitch to direct it. He had directed the previous one, I believe. He said no. He passed on it. So now they're looking for directors for the new Jurassic World movie.
I'll do it.
Let me get in touch with them and see what they say. But I was thinking, who do you think would be a good replacement for this guy? Who would be good to do a Jurassic World movie?
Oh, wow. Actually, possibly one of the people that has done like King Kong or even the Transformers.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Yeah, those.
The reason why I picked them is because their characters of their different movies were huge, gigantic creatures.
Right.
Whereas with Jurassic Park, you got huge, gigantic creatures.
That would be Adam Wingard, who's directed the last couple of Godzilla movies, American Godzilla movies. And I was actually thinking of the guy who did Godzilla -1. And I'm going to tell you his name, Takashi Yamasaki, because we know he can pull off a giant monster movie and give it some weight as well. And I don't know if they're going to be talking to him, but I hope they get to him soon because I think the next thing is going to be announced for him is they're going to give him a Star Wars film. They always give these people who have a big hit, because the film's so good, and he wants to do a Star Wars movie. So he's probably going to do a Star Wars movie. I don't want him to do a Star Wars movie. I want him to do another Godzilla movie. And I think it'd be fun to see what he does with Jurassic World.
I just had another thought. Jackson.
Peter Jackson?
Yep.
I wonder what Peter Jackson's doing.
I mean, he did a King Kong movie. Why not do a Jurassic Park
He did a
movie?
great. Well, I think the reason is because Peter Jackson does his own things. So I don't think we're going to see him do that. But I'm just curious what he's done. He's done some Beatles work,
Yep.
Let's see. Peter Jackson is. I'm curious what he's currently doing. And by the way, the main reason I'm curious about this is that my son is a huge Lord of the Rings fan. And I told him, I said, I tried to read those books twice when I was in high school and later probably in college. And they didn't work for me. But he made me promise that I would read the Lord of the Rings books this year. So I've read The Hobbit and Fellowship of the Ring, and I'm right in the middle of The Two Towers. And then I've got Return of the King coming next. Better than I remembered, but boy, there's some dry passages in there. There was one 42-page chapter where all they did was talk about what they'd done, and I about fell asleep. I know you Lord of the Rings fans are going to hate me for this. I hate the songs. They come into a clearing and it reminded him of the Shire. So he sang, and there's 3 pages of song lyrics. I hate that. And I can't get past it. I thought I'll trick myself. I'll pretend it's a Judas Priest song, and I'll sing along with the lyrics to some Judas Priest song. It doesn't work. I just want it over with. Now, I will say I've read every word of those songs, but I don't like them. and sometimes it's but there's other times when there's a paragraph and it draws the picture so perfectly. I'm like, okay, now I get it. And the other thing I noticed is that, Lord of the Rings got especially popular in the 60s. That's when it first really bloomed. And this is my memory. I could be wrong. And I think it's because of the hippie era, because those guys, they're smoking pipe weed every time they get a chance. Anyway,
I was going to say, when I first got into J.R.R. Tolkien's works, I never read the books, but I saw the animated
Ralph Bakshi.
Yeah, Ralph Bakshi.
I'd like to see that
The
again.
Hobbit.
Yeah.
And I saw it at a midnight showing at the old Carriage Square Cinema.
Really? Yeah, they always had that out there, and at the Ventura Theater too. Yep. I didn't like that movie either, but I did because I just wasn't into the Lord of the Rings thing. But when Peter Jackson's first 3 came out, wow, that was something. Not so much the second set, The Hobbit. It was fine, but it just wasn't the same. Anyway,
but you did read how many of the books have you read so far?
2.5.
And speaking of books, on Amazon.com, if you go there,
I'm gonna let him get away with it this time.
You look up R. Scott Bolton, author, you will find a plethora of books that Scott Bolton has written.
Still don't know what a plethora is, but I'm with you.
Hey, it sounds good. To me, it means a ton, a lot. I mean, if you want to consider 2 a lot, that's not. He's got 8 of them that are available. And they run the gambit from fantasy to supernatural to
detective fiction, hard-boiled,
present day. You've got demons, you've got monsters, you've got cherubs with truck driver voices. Hey, what you doing, Charlie? Anyway, look up R. Scott Bolton's books. His latest that is available is called Death and the Mogul.
And I just got the cover for my next one, which is the bowling bag in the back seat,
which I'm looking forward to proofing that one.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out how to do that because I don't have access to a printer anymore. So, I mean, I do, but I can't print 300 pages on my brother printer. I'm gonna buy a laser printer because I'm gonna be doing a lot of printing, obviously. So,
I'm sure.
Yeah, but I'll get that to you. So you may have to read it on the screen.
Oh, I hate that.
I know, but there may not be any option. Or you can take it to Kinko's and print it up yourself.
Well, that's possible.
It's like $7 to print it up, man. Yeah, it's crazy.
But I have a hard copy of every book that I have been granted the privilege
that you have helped with. No,
proofing.
you're not granted a privilege. You've helped with those many times.
Well, you notice how I said privileged.
I know.
And
you are actually. Now that I think about it, you're right.
It.
You're very lucky I let you do that.
I know that. Anyway, go to Amazon.com, look up R. Scott Bolton books.
Or go to scottbolton.com and you can find the same thing there.
You can do that too.
You can. So anyway, Peter Jackson, the last 2 things on his list were the Beatles Get Back at the rooftop concert and the Beatles Now and Then. And right before that, the Beatles Get Back, which was a miniseries. And I've heard nothing but raves about these things. In fact, I understand that they aired on Apple TV, and Apple TV subscribership went up during those things because those shows are so good. The last movie he did was Mortal Engines, which it says he's produced it by, I don't know. I thought he directed that too. And then other things as well. His upcoming projects, though, probably are not going to happen. They're the last 2 Tintin movies. Steven Spielberg made the first one, and it was excellent. I loved it. I thought it was great. But Peter Jackson was supposed to do the last 2, and they're still in. It says in production, so I don't know if that means actually in production or if they're just still monkeying around with it. But Peter Jackson, I would love to see Peter Jackson do a Jurassic World movie. He'd be perfect. He's got that knack and he knows special effects better than anybody. So, yeah, that would be good. The Jurassic World movies, and the last one just got hammered by critics. And I watched it on the plane on my way to Hawaii. It was fun. It was a blast. I don't know why anybody would hate that movie unless they wanted more depth from it. It's just a roller coaster ride. And that's all it's supposed to be, you know? I was really disappointed in the reaction to it and I talked to my son afterwards and he goes, yeah, I didn't understand the hate on that one either. So check it out if you haven't. It was actually pretty decent. But there is the fourth one's coming. Don't have a director now because Leitch just dropped out. So we'll see who they announce. It'll be somebody soon because that's a big deal for Universal, obviously.
I do have some unfortunate news as opposed to sad news, which I guess you could call it both.
Okay.
Our corner theater,
yeah,
which is now a first run theater, used to be a second and third run theater. It's now a first run theater. I have a list of what is showing there, and what I noticed that is not on that, which is apparently it's already gone away, and that's The Beekeeper.
Oh, The Beekeeper is still out there in theaters, but it's also on demand now. So
Yes.
that's probably why they pulled it. But look
Such a good movie.
Yesterday's box office. The number one movie was Argyle with almost $2 million. John really liked that movie a lot. It tanked miserably. And you know why? I was going to discuss this today too. It's a terrible title. Is it about socks? You know, they should have had something like Argyle, the Spy Writer, or something to tell you more what it's about.
Mhm.
Argyle is a terrible standalone title. And I know it's up to marketers to make sure you know what it is, but it's just a bad title to start with. It should have had a better title than Argyle. And I think that hurt it.
Wasn't Argyle a play on a name?
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know.
You haven't?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
no.
Scotty, I don't know if it's streaming yet or not.
I was going to go. No, it's far from streaming. I was going to go tomorrow because what's tomorrow? Super Bowl Sunday.
Mhm.
What do I care least about? Super
Mhm.
Bowl. So Shelley and I are going to go to the movies, but I wanted to see Argyle. But then Lisa Frankenstein is also out this week.
Yeah.
So we're going to go see Lisa Frankenstein, I think, which, by the way, was number 2 yesterday with $1.75 million. So it was, and guess what number 3 was? Just
The
guess.
Holdovers.
Without looking. No, Holdovers is not on the list.
I'm trying to think of what new ones that are out there.
It should be fresh in your memory. Almost as though you were just talking about it. It's The Beekeeper.
Oh,
The Beekeeper is still number 3 at the box office. So doing it.
which I'm surprised that's why they pulled it.
Well, but they have other first run movies to get in there.
Oh,
So I
true.
get it. The
Right.
Beekeeper is now at $123 million. It had a, I think, $34 million budget. Big hit for Jason Statham.
Well, here's what's showing at our corner theater, which, by the way, is the Buenaventura Sixplex, aka the Regency. There's Argyle, The Boys in the Boat. Hold on.
Both of those I'd like to see.
A
Again, Boys in the Boat, not my subject matter, but Clooney directed it, and I'm a big Clooney fan.
The Holdovers, which has been nominated for 5
And
Academy
it's
Awards.
a great movie, and I hope Paul Giamatti wins the Oscar.
As Scott said, Lisa Frankenstein.
Yeah. What time does that play? Does it have the times there?
That shows 12 o'clock today, 2:30, 5, and 7:40.
So we'll either go to the 12 o'clock or 2:30 show tomorrow. Okay, go ahead.
Poor Things, which has been nominated for 11 Academy Awards.
And I may watch that. Well, I can't watch it tonight, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But yeah, I want to see that soon.
And Wonka. It's still there.
Yeah, Wonka's a huge hit, though. Wonka's a monster hit, and deservedly so. It's an excellent movie. Excellent, just pure fun. Yeah, I can't go tonight because my buddy Devin is taking me to a buffet
Ooh, nice.
for my retirement.
So it's going to be crickets.
No. Well, it is insects, but he's taking me to this place called Cafe Sierra, which is in the Hilton at Universal City.
Nice.
And it's all you can eat: lobster, prime rib, other steaks, other seafood, dessert, sushi. Awesome. It's $150 a person.
Wow.
But Devin's taking me there for my retirement. So that's
nice. That's
very
nice.
It is
That's
nice. Also, all you can drink beer and wine. But since we're so far from home, we're not going to do a lot of that to make sure we get home safe. Anyway, so that's why I can't do that tonight. But I am. Poor Things is also on one of the streamers now, so you can check that out if you so wish. But yeah, see what else we got in the news here.
They're going to give you a gold watch?
No, I think that they gave me a lot of whiskey. which means they know me better than I know myself.
They'll give you Goldschlager. We still got that in here?
I don't think we have any Goldschlager. Nicolas Cage wants to be in a Star Trek movie. Now, why wouldn't they give him a Star Trek movie? Why wouldn't they get Nicolas Cage in a Star Trek movie? He'd be a great starship captain.
Yeah.
He's got that attitude and that poise. Here's the reason. Because Paramount treats Star Trek like dog crap. I could never understand. They've always been this way with Star Trek. It's their bread and butter. That and Top Gun. But they always treat Star Trek badly. They're always giving it lower budgets. Look at the whole Kirstie Alley thing. You know, when she was Saavik in that first movie, and they said, okay, we want you to come back and be Saavik. She said, okay, great, but we want to pay you less money. What?
It wasn't just less, it was a whole lot less.
Yeah, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. So, but they've always been that way. And that's, you know, the Star Trek movies have still been successful because people go to see them. Their hearts, you know, they're in their hearts, they want Star Trek.
And look at all the offshoots that have happened since the original series.
The current Star Trek that's on television created Paramount Plus. If it wasn't for Star Trek, Paramount Plus would not exist. What else could they do? It had to be Star Trek. And now there's 6 different series?
Well, maybe that's what makes it work. I don't know.
I don't know either. And you know, maybe Star Trek belongs on television and not in theaters. Maybe it does. But this is about Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is doing the movies that he wants to do. He's picking and choosing, and he's picking some weird movies that turn out to be great movies. Put him in a Star Trek movie. I don't know where the hesitation is. You know, I mean, he's not even asking for a lead role. He just wants to be in a Star Trek movie. Give him a supporting role. I don't know. It's weird.
You know, speaking of Nicolas Cage in a sort of semi role, supporting role, I saw another movie I saw this weekend was The Flash.
Oh, let's talk about The Flash. Okay, so talk about it.
You know, I quite enjoyed the movie. I had a problem with the costume that Flash wore.
What was the problem with the costume?
Well, to me, it was too body hugging, where you could see all the lines, including the butt crack.
Okay, but shouldn't it be? I mean, he's supposed to be sleek and everything for speed,
I understand
right?
that, but I don't know. Maybe
you don't like his butt, is what you're saying.
Well, no, or maybe I did, and that's what
that might be it too.
But the actor who has gone through so much.
Don't say he's gone through. He put himself through so much.
Well, yeah, he put himself through so much.
Ezra Miller.
Hey, Ezra Miller. I'm trying to think of a nice word instead of what I would really like to say. A lot of trouble. I'll put it that way.
He's got himself in a lot of trouble.
I thought he was quite good.
He's excellent in that movie. He absolutely is. That's part of the problem watching that movie is you're watching it and you're going, dude, you were really good, man. Why'd you blow it? Because he's not going to be in another Flash movie. I promise you.
I
did see the Flash, and I actually enjoyed it too. It wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was, even though I was disappointed with some of the CGI.
Yeah,
some of the CGI was just god awful. But it was cool to see in the when they were going through things in the past, seeing the old
different worlds.
They were just flashing past it. It was like a time machine flashing in front of them. But I mean, they even had the old Adam West Batman in it. That's cool.
I actually missed that.
Oh yeah, one. Adam West Batman is in there. Yeah.
I mean, I saw the one with Christopher Reeve and
yep, that's in there too.
The young lady who played Supergirl,
George Reeves Superman.
Yeah, George Reeves.
Yeah. And
I can't remember her name.
Which Supergirl?
The original one, the movie, the first movie that came out about Supergirl.
I can't remember her name. Helen.
Oh God, I cannot remember her name. What is it? Helen Slater. That's right. I don't see it up there. It just hit me.
They pulled the season up. Yeah. The series up. Yeah. I expected to be disappointed
Mhm.
by The Flash, and I actually enjoyed it, except for the really shoddy CGI, and some of it was really shoddy. And there was so much of it that didn't need to be there either. That it's like, okay, you didn't need CGI for that, but it's kind of like Avatar. I
Mhm.
finally watched Avatar 2, and it's really good, but it feels like an animated movie because there's so much CGI.
Yeah, I saw the first one, and I don't know. I just really had no desire to go to the second one. I don't know why.
It's a perfect example of it. We don't matter because it made $2 billion.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and by the way, that movie, the first 45 minutes, I was watching it. I'm going, okay, this is interesting. It's pretty to look at, but why did it make $2 billion? And then the action starts, and you're all, oh, that's why, because it was excellent. Anyway, last thing we got here, maybe something else. We'll find out. But Dune 2 is opening next weekend.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Did you see the first one?
Well, I saw the one that had Patrick Stewart in it.
Nah, you have not seen it then.
So I
don't
have not.
Don't go.
This current one, I have not seen the first one yet.
You got to go see the first one because this is actually part 2. I mean, it's a direct sequel. This one starts where the other one ends. So unless you've seen the first one or you've read the book, you're going to be lost.
Did they pull a Three Musketeers where they shot 2
Candy
movies
bars?
at the same time?
No, they did not.
Okay.
Dune 2 was shot after the other one was released. But the first one's amazing. It's incredible. And the David Lynch one, the one you're talking about with Patrick Stewart, it's interesting because it's such a different take. And I heard a lot of bad things about that. One that Dino De Laurentiis wouldn't let David Lynch make the movie he wanted to make. Well, if you've got David Lynch, you let him make the movie he wants to make. So that hurt. But it's pretty wild and pretty crazy and very not quite as Lynchian as you would hope, but pretty close to it. The new one, the Denis Villeneuve version, is a lot more closely follows the book and tells the story in a more serious, even though still bizarre way. It was excellent. It was just outstanding.
I never read the book.
I read the book after I saw that movie, and it's like Lord of the Rings. It was a challenge to me. I had to push to get through it. Still, when it was done, I was very glad I read it, but it was kind of difficult to read. And my son said that that first one's the best one, and he's read all if not all, most of the Dune books, and he says most of them aren't that great, but that first one is pretty amazing. And that's what this movie is. It's the second part of the first book. And the good news is the first movie was more about world building, so you understood what was happening and everything. The second one, the director says, is more of a action film. So that's good news.
Where can I find the current Dune first one?
You could order it on Amazon, or you could just, or you could find it at a thrift store, like I did. I fell into a thrift store copy.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's and I would give it to you, but I've already gave it to the library. I always give my old books to the library.
No, I'm talking about the movie.
Oh, the movie.
Yeah.
No, well, that's a whole different story. Let's find out where can. If you have your fingers in the right keys, it makes it. Where can John I watch Dune? All right, so Dune currently it's on Netflix, Max, YouTube, and Hulu.
Oh, okay.
Now, some of these it says subscription, but I wonder if you have to pay for it afterwards as well, like $2.99, $3.99 on Google, $3.99 on Apple TV. That's not bad for a streaming movie.
Oh, it's on Amazon Prime also, or Prime Video.
It looks like it's part of the subscription there. So, so you can do that. But anyway, I watch that before you go see Dune 2 because I think it'll help set things up for you a lot better. I can't imagine going into that world without doing it in order.
I heard something that, before I mentioned that, I wanted to give a rundown of what's showing at our corner theater since I brought it up earlier.
You already did.
Oh, I mean, what's coming? It's just a couple of movies.
It better be.
Madam Web opens Wednesday.
I understand that that's going to have a terrible box office, and have the reviews come out for that yet? It's a Spider-Man movie, right?
No, I did not know.
Yeah, it's part of the
I figured it had something to do with spiders.
Spider-Verse. Let's see. Madam Web. And it's too bad, too, because it's got a good cast.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any ratings for it yet, which is a bad sign. If the movie opens Wednesday and they don't have reviews, does that mean they held it for reviews? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, we'll find out. We'll talk about it next week when the reviews are finally out and we know what's going on with it. What else you got?
Bob Marley, One Love.
I have heard not very pleasant things about that movie is not as good as everybody hoped it was going to be. And I can't get over the guy's wig. That it just doesn't look like Bob Marley. It looks like a wig. Doesn't it? Look, here's the picture. Doesn't it look like it looks fake?
Yeah.
And by the way, 35% reviews, 35% good reviews for that so far. So let's see what they say about it. Precisely when one love should be, as Marley was striving for transcendence, it feels like it's going through the motions. Come on, you want to plead and stir it up. By the numbers biography, in the execution of war, jamming, and redemption song are the standout moments of the film, and it's a testament to some of the emotional power of the music and not the dramatic noise surrounding it. So it's not getting good reviews there, but we'll see how it does.
When you were talking about Dune Part 2, that opens on the 28th.
Oh, is it that far away? I thought it was next week. So there's no reviews for that yet. But again, look at that cast. The cast is amazing. It just, and if it's anywhere near as good as the first one, and it's almost as long, 2 hours and 46 minutes. So they get a lot of story into that movie. But,
so empty your bladder before you go.
Yeah. It's not Killers of the Flower Moon.
It's a good movie.
3 hours and 26 minutes.
And I heard that, is it the DGA Awards are coming out this weekend?
Are they?
I thought I heard them talking about that on the radio.
Who's going to win the DGA award? This is easy this year. Oppenheimer is going to win everything. I think Oppenheimer is going to win Best Picture, Best Director, probably Best Screenplay. It's going to be mammoth.
I figured it would be between Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, I think that in the normal circumstances it would be. But Oppenheimer, just think about it.
Which I haven't seen yet.
I haven't either. And but now it's on TV though. So on streaming. So I'm going to watch it soon. But think about it. Here is a movie that is about the inventor of the atomic bomb. So it's a historical movie. It's almost 3 hours long. And it grosses $1 billion. What movie ever does that? It shouldn't have happened. It's a testament to the filmmaking ability of Christopher Nolan. It just is. I was going to see what the Academy Award nominations were, but Oppenheimer had leads with 13 nominations. So, yeah, I think that Oppenheimer is the one to beat.
Do you think that the fact that both of these movies are in the 3 hour category could cancel each other?
No, has nothing to do with that running time. Christopher Nolan hasn't won a Best Director nomination, I don't think. And Martin Scorsese has. Sorry. He's been nominated. Did he win in 2018? I don't know. I can't find this list here. But, Christopher Nolan is an amazing filmmaker. There was talk for a while that he was going to be doing the next Bond film. And I thought, oh, God, yes, let's get Christopher Nolan to do a James Bond film. But Christopher Nolan said, nah, I'm not doing Bond. I don't know where that rumor started, which is unfortunate because I'd like to have seen that. Anyway, I think Oppenheimer is going to be the one to beat for everything this year. And we'll see what happens. It's coming up. But all right, what else you got, Johnny? Anything else?
Getting back to boy, my mind's gone. The Flash. I like the fact that Batman was played by
everybody.
Well, yeah, but the main Batman in this particular movie,
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. I
Yep.
mean,
And
I love the way he says, "I'm
And?
Batman." Oh, and
wasn't the only one.
well,
But don't give it away. It's the surprise at the end.
okay.
Don't give it away.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I did like the way when they found the cave. It was so cool.
It is. The movie's not bad, folks. It really isn't. It had a lot of flack. It had a lot of baggage going with it, and the CGI will just make you mad. But Ezra Miller was good,
Mhm.
and I can't take that from him, no matter how things have gone for him. Like, he was very good in that movie, and it's unfortunate that his actions have prevented him from doing a second one.
Okay, here's something for you.
And that also the box office didn't do great either.
With all the different Batman movies and TV shows, the character of Alfred. Who's your favorite Alfred?
You don't even have the full list of who played Alfred.
Sure.
So
But of what you've seen.
I'm going to go just off the top of my head without doing any research here. I'm going to go with the Adam West Batman, Alfred.
Really?
Wait, Michael Caine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Caine. See, that's why you can't do that list. And by the way, there's been tons of people who played Alfred. Let's see if I can get a list, because there's been so many different connotations of Batman. So here you go right here. Alfred Thaddeus Crane Pennyworth. All right. It's been played by Michael Caine, Andy Serkis, Michael Jackson.
What? Batman the Duh?
We got to find out what that is. Sean Pertwee. Oh, he was great. See, there's another one. Michael Goh, Alan Napier.
Yeah, hey, that's the one from the TV show.
Jack Bannon,
Mhm.
Ray Fiennes in the Lego movie.
Oh.
Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. in Batman the Animated Series. Alan Oppenheimer in Superman and Batman. David McCallum. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
See, Robert, there's just tons of them. So picking your favorite, let's see what the story with Michael Jackson is. I don't know. Batman, the Dark Knight Returns. That's just wrong.
Yeah.
That's a mistake. Maybe it's the other Michael Jackson.
No, the
David McCallum. Look at all these people that have played that role.
wow.
Tom Hollander, who's now playing Truman Capote in Feud.
Really?
Yeah. Just look at that cast. Of course, we're talking Scooby-Doo shows and all that other
Mhm.
stuff too. So there's a lot of them in there. But yeah, Michael
I guess I
Caine.
should have said live action.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised David McCallum, and I did not know that.
It must have been an animated movie, I would think. Michael Caine. How old is Michael Caine now? 90 years old.
Wow.
Said he was going to retire from acting, then said, I can't retire from acting. Same as John Williams, who just turned 92.
Yeah.
They said, he said he's retired after Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And then he said, yeah, if Spielberg comes to me and wants me to do it, I'll probably do it. Or if there's something that really catches my attention,
Mhm.
you can't retire just because you're 90.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you're as good as Michael Caine or John Williams,
Mhm.
arguably two of the best in their field. So, all right, folks. Well, that's enough of our nonsense for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you are listening, you can now catch us live on YouTube. And soon it will be, right now it's youtube.com/@RoughEdgeFM. It will soon be Rough Edge TV will take you to all of our
Ooh.
programming. So roughedge.tv. So look for that soon.
That's even news to me.
Well, I don't tell you anything. You just show up here. I come here to do the show by myself, and there's always this guy waiting there with his hand out, waiting for free breakfast.
Well,
I'm like,
yeah.
what the?
At least I brought my own coffee.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well,
and tacos are 2 for 99 cents. So, that's
yeah. Which I did not have one today.
You did not.
But
So
I
have
did.
two.
I did go
Don't
to
tell my
Del.
wife.
I went to Del Taco and they had egg and cheese breakfast roller. It was good too.
It's not good for you.
I tell you what, though, if you don't want to watch a movie, don't want to watch any TV, tired of playing your video games, you want to read a good book, go to Amazon.com and look up R. Scott Bolton books. Neath is a spooky
Haunted house story.
Yes. Most currently is Death and the Mogul.
the latest Brace Heller detective novel. And all of these are also available, by the way, on Kindle. So if you've had a Kindle, you can download them. I think they're $2.99 or $3.99, cheap. Here's your choice. You can spend $3.99 on a Kindle book that I wrote, or $3.99 and watch Oppenheimer. Yeah, that's it. Take Oppenheimer. That's the right thing to do.
My favorite of R. Scott Bolton books, Dead Dick. But
you know what? You might be in for a surprise, because I'm thinking that this October or November Novel Writing Month, Dick Dead Again may be the book I'm going to write.
Oh, I hope so. I don't know why. Maybe because it had demons and all that.
It's got nuns shooting machine guns. Do you need anything else?
Not just shooting machine guns, but riding a Harley, machine guns.
Come on, you don't need anything. And with a samurai sword.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean,
it's
absolutely ludicrous, but that's why I had so much fun writing it.
It is so much fun. But anyway, go to Amazon.com, look up R. Scott Bolton books. You will be entertained.
That's all I ask. Just, it's a nice summer read. All right, folks, as always, go visit our friends at The Grape. They are Ventura's house of jazz and spirits. They are a wonderful bar, longest bar in Ventura. And the cocktails that are freshly made right there in front of you, they're the fancy cocktails, the good cocktails, the real craft cocktails. And always music going on, or comedy. They have jazz stars that go through there on a regular basis. Some progressive rock people like Derek Sherinian have played there. That was a great show that I saw there. Rick Farabashi. I'm sorry if I say your name wrong, Rick. He's played there many times. It's just a great place to go see a show, have a great cocktail, and you can get food. They'll order food for you next door from the Ventura Sandwich Company, whose pastrami might be the best that I've ever had. So check them out.
Oh,
this is The Grape.
Hot pastrami sandwich.
Yeah, that makes two of us. So check out The Grape, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Hey, bye.
Brought to you by The Grape, Ventura County's premier jazz venue and cocktail lounge, located at 2733 East Main Street in Ventura. For menu and music schedule, visit them online at thegrape.club. This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.